Alright guys, so what is up? So this is a laptop that I found that was being thrown away. So I was at a family's house the other day and I saw that they were throwing away this laptop. And what is this laptop specifically? Hang on a second, it doesn't open up one-handed. It is an HP Pavilion G56, okay? And so basically, this laptop would have been like a competitor, or, not really a competitor since it's released by the same brand, but, an option, the AMD option to the Pavilion G6. So yeah, but actually, that isn't the case that I learned, because this laptop retailed for a little over 300 bucks, 300 to 400. Meanwhile, the Pavilion G6 retailed for 500 to 600. So the Pavilion G6 would have been higher end because it had, Core i3. The Intel versions of this laptop would have come with a Celeron. Okay? But yeah. Anyway, so guys, basically, since they're throwing this out because they told me that it was overheating, the battery died, it was slow, it didn't have any RAM, and it was very dusty and dirty. So yeah. But yeah, the condition otherwise, so look here, I already cleaned this up and I already took it fully apart. Like, look here. This laptop is one of those annoying laptops where you have to take the entire thing apart, like every bit to get to, and you gotta flip the motherboard over. It's so annoying. But yeah, I did replace the thermal paste on this laptop. I also replaced the battery since it uses the same batteries as my G6. And I also upgraded from its original 3 gigs of RAM, which would have been less than the Gateway NV52, from its original 3 gigs of RAM to 6. Okay, I don't have 6 fingers, so Oh, and also, guys, I'm happy to announce that this video and maybe the EPC video should be the last video where I have to use this clunky phone, okay? So, yeah, the camera shouldn't be shaking a lot this time, and so, yeah, I also should have 2 free hands, okay? But, yeah, so anyways, this little vision sticker right here, you might think, oh, that has an A-series processor, an AMD A-series. They have decent APUs. Decent GPUs rather. That the CPU isn't that great. No, this has I'll go and show the specs later, okay? But it is not an AMD A series chip, and this would aspire to an A series chip, okay? But so yeah, this came out in 2010, late 2010, a little bit earlier than the Pavilion G6. But yeah, as you can see here, it still has all the stickers to it, and I did clean it out, clean the entire thing with isopropyl alcohol, toothbrush, and like a paper towel. So yeah, this thing is relatively clean, okay? It's in immaculate condition right now. It's pretty good since I replaced the battery and the thermal paste. And so yeah, let's go and get onto the specs, shall we? Alright, so guys, this HP Pavilion G6, well, it's actually an HP G56 notebook PC, that's what Windows reports it as, has 6 gigabytes of DDR3 1067 megahertz dual channel memory, and it's actually originally had a 1 gig and a 2 gig stick. I replaced the 1 gig stick with a 4 gig stick, so yeah. It has an AMD Athlon 2 P340 at 2.2 gigahertz, which is 2 cores, 2 threads. It's decent. It's actually not that decent. It's faster than Celerons, but that's not great. In terms of the GPU, it has an AMD Radeon HD 4250 IGP, and it's decent. Like, it has a boost clock. It's faster than the HD 3200 IGP in the last one in the Gateway laptop, but yeah, still not great. And the 2.2 gigahertz is the actual max clock speed, so yeah. And yeah, I replaced the SSD, so yeah. Alright guys, I'm in this laptop, and as you can see here, I already have a ton of games ready to benchmark, including some new ones, like the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Come on, click on it. Yeah, this trackpad's a bit finicky. I don't know why. It's just sometimes you gotta click a little harder, okay? We have Driver, we have Doom 3, Crysis, and yeah, the only thing that I couldn't get working though was Elder Scrolls 5, because I accidentally got the special edition, not the normal version. But yeah, maybe in a future video where I retest this laptop again, where I do like an update on this laptop, I might have the original version of Skyrim running, so yeah. Well, anyway, so let's go and talk about the features of this laptop. First off, the trackpad. It's relatively decent. As you can see here, it supports multi-gestures, okay, which is better than, some modern laptops these days. You can't be, what is that word? You can't, yeah. I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of here is. Alright, But yeah, oh, you can't take it for granted, okay? Because some modern laptops don't have it. It has one-touch keys, which you might think that's cool, but no, it's just press the calculator button. Oh, I pressed two buttons by accident, and it brings up the calculator. That's about it. The other buttons do not work. Well, the browser button does, but the email button just opens up the browser again, and the other buttons also just open up the browser because this would have come with special software for the buttons. But I mean, I do have the original hard disk, so I do have the recovery partitions. But I mean, do I really want to like do that? I mean, as like some old infected version of Windows 7. Oh, and also, I heard a few of you guys in my last video said about how it's really stupid of me to put the laptop, which it intakes from the ground, on a carpet. And even though there are like little the rubber grommets here that stand up, make the laptop stand up a little, this is a carpet, so it clogs everything up, and it's also very dusty and hairy. So yeah, guys, this will be the last video where I record everything on the carpet. No worries, when I do the benchmarks, I'll record it on like a desk or like a shelf or something, so that I'm not getting this thing more dirty and more clogged. But yeah, okay. So anyways, let's go and talk about some other quirks. So you remember how the Gateway laptop, when you unplug the laptop, the GPU would run at 300 less megahertz because, the CPU was extremely inefficient? Well, guess what? Same thing happens here. Even though this is a whole new generation, I mean, it's not a whole new generation, it's just another 1,000 to the name and a 50. It still does the same power saving feature, okay? Oh, and also on the side note, this Radeon HD 4250G IGP is so slow, it is only 25% more powerful than the Radeon HD 3200 in the Gateway laptop. Which means that this laptop still aspires to a GT 210. That's quite embarrassing for this laptop, considering that the only good feature about this laptop was that it had AMD graphics, so it had modern OpenGL support, not like the Pavilion, Pavilion couldn't even run the latest version of Minecraft because of its extremely horrible Intel HD graphics. But yeah, so this does better. And also on the keyboard note, it's the same keyboard as the Pavilion G6, except it has a lock button up here, which let me see if that works. It does. Yeah, it also has this. But yeah, it's still got the same, clicky buttons. And yeah, it's perfectly fine. The trackpad is serviceable, like I said. The screen, on the other hand, the screen. I would say it's an order of magnitude worse than the Pavilion. It's probably worse than the Gateway as well, because this is a worse TN panel, okay? It's dim. Like, that's as bright as it goes, okay? Now, I might think that's bright, but if I compare it to the Pavilion here, give me a second. Okay, so look here, I'm currently in the Pavilion. Let me just go and quickly type in my pin. Alright, but so look here, guys. This Pavilion, okay, this isn't its maximum brightness. So let's go and compare these two, okay? The Pavilion and the... Well, actually, technically this is an HP Notebook G56 and this is a Pavilion G6. Let's go and max out the brightness, huh? In fact, this isn't even plugged in, so it's not even fair, but I'm pretty sure... Oh, actually, it's pretty hard to tell on camera. Let's go and unplug the G56, though. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, every time you unplug it, there's just a C++ runtime error. I think it's because the GPU is running at 300 less megahertz, so yeah. But yeah, guys, as you can see here, there is some, it's pretty hard to tell on camera, but this laptop is significantly brighter than this one, okay? But yeah, enough about the Pavilion G6. We'll have a video on that. We'll have an update video on this laptop later, so yeah. Alright, okay, but anyway, so... Another quirky thing about this laptop is the CPU-Z performance, okay? So if I go and open up CPU-Z here, now look here, if you remember on the Pavilion here, it got 550, which isn't great, but it's usable, it's respectable. Let's go and see how much this gets. Oh, and also, during the benchmarks, the temperature sensor on this thing is completely incorrect. Because you want to know how I can tell? Because I ran the same test on the Pavilion, the same stress test, the CPU-Z stress test. I ran it on both the Pavilion and the G56, and guess what happened? The Pavilion went up to around 75 degrees Celsius. This said it went up to 65. Now look here, when I put my hand in the vents, okay, as you can see, the vents are right here and right here, as you can see. The G56 was noticeably more hotter, even though it was running at 65C, which, you know, and considering that I scientifically tested this by taking it apart and, actually doing the measurements with a thermometer. This laptop, on the other hand, is completely inaccurate. I'm pretty sure it's because this laptop's been running overheated for so long that the temperature sensor is just broken. So let's run a benchmark, okay? Let's compare it to something like, I don't know, the Core 2 Duo E8600. Now look here, actually it's the E8500. Let's go and scroll down. Nice two-finger scrolling, I'll give it that. Core 2 Duo E8500 gets about the same CPU Z-score as this, a little bit worse, but yeah. So let's go ahead and run a benchmark, okay? I'm going to go ahead and lift the laptop up. Oh, come on. Click. Yeah, I'm going to lift the laptop up because, I don't want it to draw air from the carpet. But as you can see here, we're getting a whopping 170. Now, look here. I will give it this. It is more powerful than what the Chromebook got. Both the Chromebooks got about 160, 150. And so, yeah. It's not great because, the Gateway laptop scored about 123, and this has an Athlon 2 P40, P340. The Gateway laptop had an Athlon 64 X2, so it's not even an Athlon 2. It's based on the K8 architecture. This is based on the K10, which, for some strange reason, CPU-Z thinks just a K10. But, yeah, it's not great. Not only that, but the battery life on this thing, even with a brand new battery, guess what? It got a whopping 1 hour and 20 minutes on playing games. But when not playing games, I was barely getting 2 hours. Both of these laptops' battery life are complete garbage, okay? Just complete garbage. The battery life on both these laptops are complete garbage. Same with the Gateway. The Gateway laptop got the same battery life as both of these. So all my old laptops with brand new batteries have completely garbage battery lives, okay? So, yeah, not great. But, yeah. So, since this supports OpenGL 3.3, because, it's an ATI chip, I was able to get games like Necess running, latest version of Minecraft. It's just better, Unlike this laptop, which is a whole year newer, and it still comes with OpenGL 2.1 only. Because it's got Intel HD. Okay, Intel made better CPUs, but their GPUs were complete garbage. Okay, like the CPUs, you saw that this CPU in here got like 4 times the score of this laptop in CPU-Z alone. Okay, in terms of GPU though, this thing easily destroys the Pavilion. Okay, like it has much more support and better drivers, even though it's Terascale drivers, and Terascale drivers were renowned for being bad. Intel HD drivers are hot garbage. Like, they do not support anything later than Windows 7 officially. Okay, and at least the Terascale drivers support Windows 8.1. So yeah, that's just complete garbage. Okay, so yeah, guys. Anyways, enough ranting about this laptop. Let's go ahead and run the benchmarks and see how it performs, shall we? Starting right in the deep end here with BeamNG Drive, we're getting an abominable frame rate of 16 frames per second, with 1% lows of 12. This is extremely input laggy and in general unplayable with lowest expectations. The Pavilion G6 from the other video, the first one on this channel actually, does much better in BeamNG Drive, getting like 20 frames compared to 16. The game is not only unplayable, but looks like complete crap with the lowest settings at 640 by 480. It also completely maxes out the system because the CPU, RAM, and GPU are all completely maxed out at 100%. And the CPU temperature monitor is lying because when the G56 reads 62 degrees and the G6 reads 80, they were blowing out the same hot air. So yeah, the temperature monitor is a bit off. It's about 15 degrees short. Next up, with an extremely demanding game, we have Crysis running here at 800 by 480 resolution, which is with the lowest possible settings, and the game looks like a game from 1999, because it's extremely blurry and crappy. And it isn't even running that well. It's barely playable with a 25 FPS average and 1% lows of 10 frames, which makes the game extremely input laggy, and it's extremely stuttery, just like BeamNG. But this game is a shooting game, which makes it even more unplayable. But I mean, I guess since it is technically higher than BeamNG, it is technically playable. Next up, we have Driver, which is a driving game from 2006, who would have figured. Even with a game from 2006, we still had to drop all the settings, just to remain at 30 to 40 FPS with the native resolution of 1366 by 768. The average is 37, and the 1% lows are pitiful 29. But here's the worst part. With smoke, the FPS drops to like 20, sometimes even single digits if you do massive burnouts. Driver is barely playable. The only good thing is that it's running at native resolution. We have another new benchmark game here with the Elder Scrolls the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and it is running at a respectable 60 FPS most of the time. Granted, with medium settings at 1024 by 600, which is quite literally netbook resolution, same resolution as the ePC I showed off. It is playable, but the game looks blurry due to the low res. But it is the best one running so far. Towns and cities can drop the FPS to 40 and or 30, but still remains playable, you know? Oblivion is a solid pass, and the reason why I didn't drop it to lowest settings because Oblivion kind of looks like a game from like the 90s at lowest settings, so yeah. Oblivion is a solid pass. On to the next benchmark. The Long Drive here, running at the lowest possible settings. At standard definition here is laggy. The game stutters like crazy due to the only 6 GB of slow DDR3, which is filling up real fast. The FPS isn't even good, as it is getting like 25 FPS on average and 1% lows of 10. Again, due to stutters, which when generating more road, you know, so it like happens a lot. The Long Drive is not even playable with these crap settings, as it is a stuttery 25 frames per second, which like it has to be a smooth 25 frames per second for me to even consider it to be playable. And yeah, it's just not really playable. We're gonna have to give it a fail here, especially when you're in buildings with a lot of items. Definitely not playable. Minecraft Java here, getting a whopping pathetic 13 frames per second on average, and a stuttery 1% low of 2 frames per second. This is with the lowest settings, and only 2 chunks of render distance. This is running worse than on the Gateway laptop, which came out 2 years before this. The input lag is crazy, but may be better if it was running on a server, so the server is generating the chunks, not this extremely old laptop with an Athlon 2 P340. Minecraft is definitely not playable here. Like, any combat and you're dead. Gary's mod here, and we're not doing well. 37 FPS average and 1% lows of 25 is not what you want to see running a 20-year-old game at low settings at the netbook res of 1024 by 600. This game is playable, technically, but it looks like complete crap. This is the worst I've seen Gary's mod running at. This deserves like an award for being the slowest laptop that, like, you know, can play modern-ish games. Muck here, another free modern indie game, which is relatively intensive, running at the lowest settings, at standard definition. A common res for this laptop at this point, because like, it needs to be dropped to this low to get even playable frame rates. Not only that, but it's getting a whopping 16 frames per second with 1% lows of 10. This is a complete slideshow. It is not playable at all. There's just nothing else to say. No redeeming factors about this one. Necess here is barely launching and taking half an hour to load and running at 20 frames per second with 1% lows of 10. This is with a large colony though, as you may see. You may see a better frame rate early on. The game is running at lowest settings though, so, you know, I mean, is that really redeemable? Although it is running at native res, which, you know, is another redeeming thing, other than, you know, earlier colonies might be better. The last benchmark on this list is Drift Hunters. This game is really easy to run, even on a 10-year-old Chromebook. If you remember that Chromebook video, you should go see it. It's actually pretty awesome. So it should run here fine here, right? Well, 31 FPS average and 26 1% lows sounds alright, but isn't. Throwing some smoke while drifting, and you'll be seeing around 15 frames. Because, like I said, it doesn't handle any smoke effects well from any game. And the game is also stuttery as heck. Barely playable even with the lowest settings at native res. So, yeah. It is playable, just you better not look back while drifting, or else you're gonna probably crash from the low frame rate. Alright, so overall, how do I feel about this laptop? Was it worth saving from the trash? Well, I mean, it can play YouTube videos, it can browse the web, and the battery life, it's okay, I guess, but it's not great. So yeah, when this laptop was released, it was never a good laptop. Let me just open up the calculator for fun here. Yeah, as you can see here, it took quite a while to open up the calculator. I mean, normally it would open up instantly on my main PC. But yeah, was it worth saving though? I'm gonna say yes, because it can browse the web just fine if you don't have like a billion tabs open, and it can play some lighter, older games, I mean, the Athlon 2 P340 isn't the worst processor. It's fast in the Gateway and the Chromebooks. So, yeah, I would say it's worth it, okay? It's worth it to save. And, yeah, I've basically turned this from, almost like a brand new laptop, with Windows 11 and stuff. But, yeah, anyways, guys, I guess that concludes our video, okay? And this laptop has been pretty fun to save, okay? But, hey, guys, anyways, see you in the next video, okay? Which should be about the ePC, because, I got a few games running on it, and Windows 7. So, yeah, guys, anyways, see you in the next video, okay? Subscribe!